The Nerdmobile, Episode 7, recorded on March the 5th, 2020. Hi everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the Nerdmobile. This is Episode 7. Yeah! Final Fantasy 7, like the remake that I just played last night before going to bed. I actually am running on some lost sleep right now. I'm pretty sure I slept for around 5 hours because, I worked from home yesterday, and I was working pretty much all day on just one thing, and then that one thing kind of reset back to the beginning, so I had to work on that thing all the way back from scratch, so that was a pain in the ass. So, yeah, I ended up actually working a little bit later, beyond the hours that I'm supposed to work. To finish that. And I did a live stream on Game Tree, which was really fun. I did Rainbow Six Siege, and that game in and of itself is pretty fun. I am not used to multiplayer only games and, games where like it requires a lot of coordination and teamwork and stuff like that. I'm just, my brain is like a potato when it comes to that. I don't know how to coordinate with other team members. I don't know anything about, the many characters in Rainbow Six that you can play as, and they all have like different skills and stuff. It's kind of like Overwatch, right? Whenever you play against someone else, it's always like, oh, there's a Lucio over there. And so just from saying that, everybody should already know what that character does, what his weaknesses are, and all of the memes that are related to that, that say, oh, be careful because he can do this, this, and that. Well, exactly the same thing here is like, they don't even say, there is a Tachanka in there, in the corner. Please defend yourself by using your skill or something. It's just like, Tachanka, They just say the name and everybody should already know what to do. And I'm just there like, what? I don't know. I have Buck, which I guess is like the default man with gun, that plus, a whole bunch of other very pretty looking characters, because that is a very pretty looking game. And that's also my first time ever using Uplay. Now granted, that doesn't mean that Rainbow Six Siege is my very first game on Uplay, because I do actually, I did not even remember this, but, I bought Rainbow Six Siege at a discount for like $10 on Steam. And I said, okay, well, I just, like any other game, I just launch the game on Steam and it goes, right? But no, you have to have the Uplay launcher. So it's a launcher for a launcher to launch the game, which I think is really annoying. That's just stupid, inconsiderate companies that say, oh, me, I want the piece of the Steam pie as well. And so they have to force people to use their own stupid launcher, which isn't bad. I mean, whatever. It's not like it crashes or breaks anything, It's just more space on the desktop, just another shortcut that I have to add in there that I don't want. It's just it's a bit of an inconvenience, but in the long run, it's whatever. It's another friends list that I have to manage, It's another set of games that I have to keep on a different store, I'm pretty sure there's software out there. I remember, years ago, a long time ago, I remember there was software that was advertised somewhere. You know how you have, BuzzFeed or other websites that are like, oh, here's, a cool tech thing, And I think there was one that was like, hey, do you have all of these launchers and you just want to manage all of your games in just one place? Well, here you go. If you download all-in-one, whatever the fuck, then you can have your Uplay, your Steam, your GOG, your everything, all in just one launcher, so that you can just have all of your library of games in one place, and when you click on the game, it just launches whatever launcher you need, and there you go. But, you only have to focus on one, which is nice and convenient. But again, if I have to install all the launchers anyway, then what's the point? I'd rather just open up whatever I need. Oh, the Epic Game Store is another one. Yeah, for the Epic Game Store, I literally just have Fortnite, and because I have been heavily considering some serious game development, I first started off with RPG Maker, which is fine, just to kind of, it's like the notepad of game development, RPG Maker is, you can very easily just kind of lay out an idea, or at least the script for something when you have an idea in your head, but it's nothing as soon as you start to get into the nitty-gritty details and you actually have a vision of what you want, there's obviously a lot of specifics that you're not going to be able to do with RPG Maker either, unless you like just fill it up to the brim with plugins and shit, and even that won't work all that well. So yeah, it really depends. 5.5 hours. Okay, yeah. So my smartwatch just vibrated, telling me that I had 88% efficiency on my sleep from 2:28 a.m. to 8 in the morning. Yes, that was my entire sleep, and that's not even the whole thing, because my alarm went off at 7:30, and I kept turning it off, saying "fuck you, I'm not interested in your business of me waking me up." And so I ended up putting it on snooze mode or whatever, all 3 times, because my smartwatch only lets you go on snooze for 3 times, and then after that it doesn't beep again until the next day. So like, yeah, if I decide to keep sleeping even after the snooze, I'm kind of fucked. There was one time that I actually did oversleep, and I woke up at like 9:30 or like 10 at exactly the time that it should be working. Luckily for me, it was a Friday, I think, and so I work from home, so who the hell is gonna know, right? And so yeah, I just immediately got up and got on my desk. I didn't even shower or dress or anything. I said, no, work mode now. And then I think it was like during my lunch break at noon that I actually showered and ate and got dressed and stuff. And I know some people might say, isn't it a little too late, to be dressing up? Might as well just be in your pajamas all day. I would kill to work at my job at home in my pajamas. What are you talking about? Why are you even getting dressed, is what I can hear some of you say. But I don't know, man. I was unemployed for a whole year prior to this. So, I feel like, when you're working on YouTube videos and podcasts and other stuff on my own end, and Jack of all controllers articles and whatnot, because I am affiliated with them too, plus Good Game of Fun, plus Game Tree, and plus literally anything else I want to do as well. You kind of need to have that mentality. You got to get into that mode of like, okay, I'm gonna work, because at least for me, when I'm in my pajamas, I feel like I can't start the day off. I feel like, I want to cook some breakfast and just watch some TV and chill, or catch up on some YouTube videos. I feel like I'm in morning chill out mode, and not necessarily on like, okay, let's start the day, And so for me, I like that mental switch kind of happens when I shower, when I dress, when I'm done eating breakfast, when I do all of that routine stuff. I go out and I check the mail, see if I got anything, when I do all of those small things, and when I'm like fully dressed with like shoes and pants and everything, they're like, okay, maybe even a little jacket because it gets really cold. I don't have any air conditioning or heat in my place. So, if it's hot, it's hot, and deal with it, And if it's cold, and deal with that too. So, wear a jacket or wear a short sleeve or something, but always be dressed. Because like that, I feel ready to take on the world. And so even if it's just sitting down on my computer all day, I like to feel like that. And then when I get on a break, obviously sometimes I go outside and I go for a little walk and stuff, and it's even more of a hassle to be in your pajamas and then be like, oh, I want to leave the house, and then have to dress up and then have to leave, To me, that really, I'm very lazy to do that. But if I want to go out for a walk and it's like, oh, I'm already dressed, I'm already ready to go, I just got to walk out, and there we go. I mean, that's a lot easier, right? But yeah, the reason for why I was looking at my smartwatch saying that I got 5.5 hours of sleep was because the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo just came out like a few days ago, and I did not give myself the time to play it. I said, okay, I'm going to download it, and then I'm not going to play it, I'm going to stream it. But I remember that I was taking a break from streaming, and I don't really have a lot of time right now. So what I was thinking of doing is just waiting until Friday, which is tomorrow. I'm going to sneeze. That is big sneeze. My nose isn't good in the morning, but also not in the afternoon or at night either. My nose is just terrible in general. You can see all of my live streams and see how much I sniffle all over the place. I know it's annoying. No, boy. And I'm trying really, really hard not to, like, not to do that all the time. But anyway, the Final Fantasy VII demo came out, and it was out for a couple of days, and I was kind of just stalling because I had already seen all the footage, I already knew what was going to be in that demo. It is like literally the entire opening, and then when Cloud and Barrett go into one of those Mako reactors, Mako Reactor 1, I guess, interior, because they show the locations now. You're going to have a couple fights, and then you're going to have that boss battle with the big dude right before the bomb hits and stuff, so, yeah. And I knew that's where it was going to end, There are a lot of demos out there that are very, very generous. There are many times where I even forget that I'm playing a demo, because there are some RPGs that, they're long enough, to be able to get away with a long demo, but at the same time, there are some games that, like, that are relatively short that have pretty long demos. I remember there were a few, like, action gaming ones that, had, like, a whole area of the game for you to explore, or, they had a time limit. It was like, okay, you can only play for 30 minutes or whatever, or, I remember in Smash Brothers Brawl, you had, like a library of NES games and Super Nintendo games that you could play that I'm pretty sure was just literally the entire game, but they only gave you like a 60-second limit for some reason. And so you could play that. Yeah, the time limits on those were ridiculous. I don't know why they wouldn't just let you play them. Probably because they had the Virtual Console on the Wii, and that meant, if we just give away Super Mario Brothers with this copy of Smash Brothers Brawl, then they're not going to go into the eShop. They're not going to go into the Virtual Console store on the Wii Shop and spend $5 on an NES game that shouldn't cost $5. Now, you know what? Maybe with our Wii U console, we can do it better. And, sell $5, sell these NES games again for $5. The exact same games, in fact. Yeah. And then just rolling them out like one game, one or two NES games, like once per month. I'm sure nobody will get angry about that when people can just go on the internet and like find the torrent, or like go to the Pirate Bay and find like a zip file of literally every single NES game that has ever existed and download it in like 5 minutes, because like the entire NES catalog is like a gigabyte, yeah, and even then, like, you can get it like different folders that have like different regions, different Japanese games and like bootlegs and stuff like that. You can get everything. Same goes for Super Nintendo games and pretty much any other old retro console, pretty much, and all that for free. Yeah, only because these corporations, these companies don't really make it easy for you to buy and revisit these games. They just make it horrible or complicated, or have it cost a lot of money. It's like, fuck it. You're not giving me much of a choice here. Anyway, let's get back on topic with Final Fantasy VII Remake before I jump off on something else. I played it last night, and that's why I lost a lot of sleep, because I was working at something for my job, and then I did the live stream, and then it was already pretty late. It was like 8:30, and so I kept working on that thing for my job. And then when I was finished, I said, okay, well, that doesn't give me any time for me to do anything. And so I had like it was 10, and so I usually like to go to sleep at around 10 or 11 at the latest. But I was stubborn. I was like, no, I don't want to live my life like this, where it's just go to bed, go to work, go to bed, go to work. That's awful. No. I refuse. And so it took a couple hours until like midnight to like edit down the Samurai Kagura episode. So yeah, one of my many little archives of Samurai Kagura 2 Deep Crimson footage. I edited an episode, I think it's episode 36, where the thumbnail is like Ikariga in her underwear and I'm there with like little hearts in my eyes. That thumbnail. I posted it as an unlisted video. And so that's basically the only way that I could have it be as like early access content for people on Patreon. So if you're a $5 backer and up, because that's literally the only tier that I have, you're going to get early access to watch that video today instead of having to wait until tomorrow. Because yes, I I would say that I have it scheduled for Friday, but I don't actually have it scheduled for Friday. I just have it unlisted, and then on Friday in the morning at around 10 a.m., I'll be like, okay, public, and there we go. Luckily, I can just do that on my phone really easily, so, yeah. And so, yeah, for people that are on Patreon, they can see the unlisted link. The post itself is locked, so if you're a $5 backer, the only tier, the Cool Kids Club, then you can go ahead and just watch that video straight from the Patreon, or you can just click on the video player or whatever, and it takes you to YouTube. It's the same. But, yeah, I kind of want to do that a little bit more often, especially with all of these episodes of Sermon Kagura that I'm making. Right now, I'm pretty much just making one episode and just uploading it the next day as I make it, you know. It's not like a daily thing. It's like maybe 1 or 2 episodes per week, and then the podcast on Sunday. So there we go. That's 3 videos. Well, 2 videos and a podcast all in 1 week. And that's why I like recording these often, because, you know, with the podcast, I also have like a big backlog of podcast episodes that I can keep scheduling ahead of time and uploading. Yeah. Well, yeah, so because of that, because I spent a couple of hours editing an episode and making the thumbnail and uploading it and making sure that it was uploaded, you know, I was playing on my PlayStation TV. Yeah, believe it or not, there are people that still have a PlayStation TV, and I'm one of them. And yes, I still play with a PlayStation TV because there's a lot of Vita games that I was never able to catch up with, you know? The Vita and the 3DS are kind of the consoles that I'm using right now because I have bought so many games from those platforms, and I never beat most of those games. Right now, I'm super hardcore on the 3DS because I still have Etrian Odyssey Nexus. I still have a 7th Dragon 3rd Code, or whatever the fuck that name is. I still got Persona Q2, which I haven't really advanced with. I'm on that, like, dinosaur world, which I think is, like, the second world's. Yeah, I'm not super duper far into it, but gosh. After playing Etrian Odyssey, Persona Q2 kind of looks like shit in comparison, because, yeah, Persona Q is really stylized and has all of the Persona characters, but my god, man. They just never stop fucking talking in that game. It's just talk, dialogue all the time. Every single little movement has to have like 10 paragraphs of people talking and making references of like, yes, I'm this character that did that in the past. You know, like they all have to make references to themselves and like flanderize each other, you know? And yeah, it's just kind of annoying. And on top of that, the fucking battles in Persona Q2 are impossible. I did World 1. And I am on safety mode, so like I come back to life every time I lose. So there's literally no way that I can lose. But I hate the fact that I'm dying, you know, so often, and I hate the fact that the battles take so long and everybody dies so easily, you know. I'm on the second world, and like I'm not even. It's not like I rushed through the game or skipped fights or anything. I fought every single person I bumped into, and like I'm just not leveling up enough, and I don't have like enough personas to like do fusion or anything like that. I am so ill-equipped. And so I think what's supposed to happen is that you're just supposed to go through the same dungeon multiple times and just keep fighting enemies and grinding until you have enough money to buy the best weapon for everyone. And then, yeah. Or you can just commit to just one singular team, which is very hard. And then just level them up until they're overpowered, you know? I don't know, but that game has been kind of annoying. It's been a bit of a drag to be. Whenever I look at Persona Q2, it's like, ugh, because I know that the moment I get in there, I'm going to hate it because I'm just going to die and die and die and die and die. And I'll keep advancing because, you know, I'm in that, like, super easy mode that essentially doesn't let you have a game over, but I just don't like that struggle, you know? Because then, like, the fights are very, very long if I decide to just power through all of it because I'm too weak for it. So maybe if I gotta kill some time, I'll dedicate some time to grinding. Oh, also the map in Persona Q fucking sucks. Like when you draw on the map on the touchscreen, like the pen is like 10 pixels off to the left of where you're actually drawing, or like 10 pixels to the right. I forget, but it's inaccurate, and so like and it's very delayed. You know, when you try to draw, like it doesn't actually draw a line. You know, like you try to draw, and when you're done drawing, it's barely registering that you want to draw. So, like, you have to, like, go back and forth a bunch of times to make sure that one little line for the map is drawn in there. So you have to be very slow when you draw or put in anything. And so I was thinking, okay, well, maybe my 3DS is just really old, you know? I have an original, normal 3DS, Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds Edition. And I said, okay, maybe it's getting a little up there, getting a little old in years. I was already thinking of buying a new 2DS XL anyway, with my payday money, because it's very cheap. I was thinking of getting myself a Switch Lite for one, and a 2DS XL, a new 2DS XL. And I was saying, dude, like you can buy those that come with Mario Kart and stuff, and on top of that, like, dude, it's so much nicer and bigger and newer, and it has more processing power. I can play Smash 4 faster, like how I've always wanted. The game that everybody wants to play right now, Smash 4 on 3DS. And it has like the second thumbstick or whatever, so I can play all these other games a lot easier, It's a lot better, it's a lot cooler, it's a lot smoother. I think it's worth it, especially for me, where all I'm doing is just catching up with so many other games, It's worth it for me. And plus, it's super cheap now. And a Switch Lite wouldn't be too bad right about now. I like my Switch, and I like taking it around everywhere. But, there's a bunch of games that I know I'm not going to stream, or that I know that I don't have to, do a full Let's Play of. So I can install all those games on there. And that's the console that I can take with me everywhere, as opposed to my actual Switch that I use for streaming, that has, like, my big memory card and everything. So, yeah. I think it's cool. Now, I feel like I want to hold out on the Switch Lite, because I feel somewhere in my gut that there's going to be some sort of a Switch Pro, or like an upgraded, newer version of the Switch that's going to, have better processing power, that's going to run games better. So maybe I should save up money, and maybe if there's like the Switch Lite version of that, then maybe I can spend money on that. I don't know how I feel about buying the same console but just slightly smaller. But then again, I did get the Nintendo DS Lite, and I adore the Nintendo DS Lite. It's one of my favorite portables. And I have been digging around the internet to buy myself a PSP Go, because I just love the design of it. And as I said already, I want to have a video game console that's easy to carry around, that I can just take anywhere and enjoy it, and not have to worry about streaming anything or playing through anything. And I know that on PSP I have a fuck ton of RPGs and stuff, because I have like PlayStation Plus, and I've had so much time with PlayStation and the PlayStation Store and buying all of these discounted games. There's a lot of PSP games that I own that I want to play through. There's like RPGs and Loco 1, Patapon 1, 2, and 3. I have the Legend of Heroes games, I have Trials in the Sky 1 and 2. Sky 3 never came out on PSP, nor on Vita either. It came out on PC only, which sucks. And then what else? Like, what other PSP games do I have? Oh, I have Manakemia Student Alliance or something. I have Ratchet & Clank Size Matters. I have God of War. I have God of War, Ghost of Sparta, and Chains of Olympus. I have those. I also have, what else? Oh, Persona 3. Persona 3 Portable. That's an amazing game to have on PSP. So yeah, I want to have a PSP Go, because it's just like the little screen, and you can even put it in your pocket, and it fits real nice. Nice and snug. And then I can pull out the little buttons and stuff. I know that people don't necessarily like the build, but again, I was fascinated by its design, and I just want one, okay? Fuck it. I want one. I know they're out there on Amazon for like $200, but fuck it, I want one. And a Game Boy Micro as well. I want all of the tiny versions of all the consoles. Yeah, man, I want another Game Boy. I have a bunch of Game Boy games that obviously I play with through the Nintendo DS Lite, but the L button on my DS Lite doesn't work anymore. It's completely dead. So I have to only play games that don't require me to press any of the shoulder buttons. So it's essentially just Pokemon and Mario for me. Because then I tried to play Zelda, Minish Cap. And then you have the part with like the friendship stones or whatever. And so you have to press L and R at the same time, I think. And that's where I got fucked, And you can't back out of that conversation that teaches you how to do it either. So yeah, that's where the game stops. You got to turn it off. Yeah. Mother 3 is a game that I can play as well. Yeah, man. So I want to go maybe on eBay, or I don't know if Amazon has any. But I want to buy myself, at the very least, another Game Boy Advance SP. And I know it's going to be very expensive. But a Game Boy Micro, ideally, just so that I can have the brand new experience of playing just with a different console. I never got the chance to play with a Game Boy Micro. I think when I played one was in a Walmart in like, oh no, actually no, I think it was like a Toys R Us or a Walmart or something in like the gaming section, and they had like a little crappy broken display version of it. And so yeah, you know, that was it. That was all I could play. And so I really want to be able to own one. And now that, you know, I have a job and I'm getting paid and things are really looking up for us, then maybe I can use a little bit of that money to maybe invest on a PSP Go, a Switch Lite, a Game Boy Advance SP, or a Micro, whichever one, and then be able to take my games on the go. Obviously not carry around all three of them, you know, just carry one. And knowing me, it'll most likely be the PSP Go. And, you know, having like the memory stick and then installing all the games on there and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. For me, that's like, oh yeah, that's cool. For some other people, it'd be like, you're so stupid. Why would you do that? You know, why not just take your Vita around? But like the Vita is just a teensy bit too bulky. And even then, I'd rather take my Vita than my Switch, you know, my original Switch, because that is also a little bigger and too bulky. It doesn't fit on my pocket. You know, if I gotta carry on a bag just for my Switch, then fuck it. No, I don't want to take it with me. I used to, because I would always carry around a bag for college and university. Then obviously, if my Switch fits in there, then I'll take it. But, you know, if I'm just out and about, not really needing to carry anything, but then I gotta use a bag for my Switch, then no thank you. No, thank you. There we go. K-On, if you guys don't know. Extra points if you knew that it was a K-On song. But yeah, you know, I think those consoles are really nice. They look really nice. They have a cool design. You know, they usually tend to play games and run them a little better than before. You know, they always come with tiny little improvements. And they're very easy to carry around. I think playing games offline single-player stuff that doesn't require an internet connection all the time, I think that there's a special thing there that was lost, you know, now in the modern day, because everything is all about DLC and expansions and microtransactions and connecting to the internet and bullshit like that. When, you know, you have all of these games that have a ton of content that don't require any of that, you know? And these were all like old-ass, you know, Game Boy Advance games. Well, I really want to make a list, you know, like a video about it. I think like my favorite Game Boy Advance games, because I really do have a lot. I have a lot of favorite Game Boy Advance games. I can even brainstorm some right now. I'm already thinking Kirby Return to Dreamland is one. Kirby and the Amazing Mirror is another one. Pokemon. Literally all of the Pokemon. Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. Pokemon Pinball. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Pokemon... I think that was all of them, right? Or is there more? I forget. Sonic Battle, Sonic Advance 2, Sonic Advance 3. Well, actually, no. It's just Sonic Advance 2 that I like. Because Sonic Advance 1, I got a little bored of it. And Sonic Advance 3, I don't remember having a lot of fun with it. Yeah, it's 2 specifically that I think is amazing. It's one of the best Sonic games out there. Mario Party Advance. That game's fun. I remember, dude, I spent an ungodly amount of time in Mario Party Advance. No kidding. All of those NES re-releases, you know, like Super Mario Brothers NES, Legend of Zelda NES, Zelda 2 NES. Which other ones? There were a bunch of... Oh, yeah, Metroid. Metroid came out in Game Boy Advance. Yeah. Oh, Super Metroid. I remember that. No. Super Metroid was Super Nintendo. Metroid Fusion, I think, was the name of that Game Boy Advance game. That was really good. There was a lot of crappy, like, movie license stuff that I had, too. I had, like, the Jimmy Neutron Game Boy Advance game. I had the Fairly Odd Parents game. Enter the Cleft to that one. I had the Dragon Ball GT Game Boy Advance game that you turn it on and it starts... Yeah, and it was just like a very shitty, jaggy, blurry image of Goku. Adult Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Yeah, that's what it was. And then it was like almost like a Streets of Rage side-scrolling beat-em-up kind of game, and it was real crappy. But oh my god, I beat that game, I think, like 20 million times. That when you're a shitty little kid and just says, I like Dragon Ball, you know, you see the Dragon Ball thing, and you're like, yay, you play that a million times. Speaking of games that I played a million times, fucking Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors. Oh my god. I love that game. I love that game. I love it a lot more than the crappy DS game, Supersonic Warriors 2. I love the first one, Supersonic Warriors 1, a lot. I like that they had like a bunch of what-if stories and stuff. That was really, really fun. Man, I'm going down memory lane right now with all these Game Boy games. Which other ones I used to play a lot? Man, my brother imported a copy of Rhythm Tengoku, the very first Rhythm Heaven. I know that people in America, they see the Nintendo DS version of Rhythm Heaven that is just called Rhythm Heaven, and so they're like, oh, that's the first one, right? Wrong. I'm going to make like Jesse Eisenberg playing Lex Luthor in Superman and say, wrong! And correct you. And be like, no. Actually, the first Rhythm Heaven was on Game Boy Advance. Just like all the people that think that the first Phoenix Wright was on DS. No. The first Phoenix Wright was on Game Boy Advance as well. And it was super duper fun. I had never played the original Rhythm Heaven on Game Boy Advance, but I did, and it was fun. Also, WarioWare. The very first WarioWare was also on Game Boy Advance, even though my first time ever playing WarioWare was on GameCube, which was exactly the same as the Game Boy Advance one, but it had less things in it. It had like less of the little Wario characters doing stuff. It was just a big elevator, you know, with their faces on it. But it was still fun. It had like multiplayer stuff, which was fun, and then it had all those openings from you know, the GameCube version. Those were also really fun. But you know, there's kind of a lot of stuff that you miss out on if you don't play the Game Boy Advance version. What the fuck? There's a car on three. It's like an old style. Okay, there's like this. There's there's this black dude that looks like a millionaire rapper, a guy that looks like Royce the 5'9", that's driving on a three-wheeled car. Like the body of the car is like an old, like 1950s classic style car, but the lights are modern and the wheels are like spinning around and shit. Motherfucker looking like fucking Ice Cube in here. Just chill. Look at him. He doesn't even have like a top cover or anything, you know? It's like a convertible or something. He's a really short car too, so he looks really funny in comparison to all these other big cars. But look at him. He looks like he's on top of the world. He's fine. He's just big chilling. He's just big chilling over there. He looks really proud of himself, that man. All right. I like him. I like the cut of his jib. That guy's got moxie. that man is my boy. All right. Sure. Rock on, guy with three-wheeled, classic but not really kind of car. All right. Hopefully the wind is blowing on your bald head. And of course you're wearing a little cap. Or a little bit twirled towards the side. Yeah. That's how it be. That guy's got a cool jacket, though. A cool black jacket. Yeah, he looks like he's ready to record a rap music video or something. He's about to collab with Eminem in a little bit. Maybe he's on his way to do that with his ride. And I'm seeing the guy with a with a little red scooter. Yeah, a lot of motorcycles around here on the freeway. What was I talking about? I completely forgot what I was talking about. I was talking about Game Boy Advance games, and as soon as I'm done, I swear to God I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake, okay? I swear. Oh, here it comes again. I passed him. I passed the dude in the car. Now he's coming. Now he's coming back. He's coming back. Hey, there he is. Oh, look at him go. Yeah, that guy gets pussy a lot. Yeah, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he gets a lot of women say, hey, man, get in my car. Beep, beep. He does the beeping like da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. What other Game Boy Advance games do I like? Well, Mother 3 is kind of an obvious one. I imported a modded Game Boy Advance copy of it that comes with the English translation for Mother 3, and that was a magical experience right there, because me and my brother had played it on emulators like a million times already, but I remember watching the Super Beater Bros Let's Play of Mother 3, and me wanting to play it again, and so I remember that I ordered that. I imported that copy of Mother 3 on Game Boy Advance, and I played it on my DS Lite, and it was amazing. I loved it a lot, and that was a game that I was consistently playing. You know, again, if you want to talk about games that you want to carry around and enjoy wherever you go and just kill some time, Mother 3 was a big one for me, you know, because there's a lot of there's like maybe 1 or 2 bits in that game where you really do have to grind a little bit, because a lot of these bosses get really, really fucking hard. Particularly when you go underwater and like you're going into that big tower where the electrical boss is at, you know. Yeah, there's a few bosses towards the middle point that get really fucking tough, and so you either need to know their trick, you know, see what their weakness is, or you just got to keep grinding and get more powerful so that you can just tank as many hits as possible, and your health is scrolling down, so you at least want to have enough health for you to be able to have enough time to heal everybody up before the ticker goes all the way down to 0, which is cool. I like that mechanic, as opposed to just automatically, you know, having the value of that number just go down immediately, instantaneously, and then just not having any chance for survival, as opposed to, you know, in Mother 3 or in Earthbound, where you have a killing blow and the health is slowly ticking down to 0, but you can heal yourself before that happens, which I think is awesome. That kind of saves you the trouble of having to revive, you know, a character, or, you know, you having the revival skills and, you know, you dying and not being able to revive anyone, and after that you're screwed. So, yeah. I'm still thinking. I'm thinking of what other games. Oh my god, yeah. So there's a lot of old retro games from NES and Super NES that I never grew up with on the console that they came out in originally, but I grew up with them on Game Boy Advance. So, Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, Legend of Zelda, Minish Cap more so than Link to the Past. I am personally not the biggest fan of Link to the Past, and I know that's very controversial to say. I just don't think it necessarily, you know, competes with a lot of the newer stuff that comes out today, which is technically a good thing. You know, sequels are supposed to, you know, be better than the original, right, than their predecessor. I feel like it would be a disservice to say that Link to the Past is the best Zelda game and no other one is better, right? That means that all of the other future Zelda games are a failure because they're not better than this other Super Nintendo game, you know? I feel like games are supposed to advance and improve and be better than their predecessors. So to say that, you know, any newer game is better than Link to the Past, I think that's a pretty good compliment. But I am personally a much, much bigger fan of A Link Between Worlds than A Link to the Past. I feel like that has a nicer art style. It has better mechanics. It has more fun dungeons and stuff. To me, Link to the Past doesn't feel like a Zelda game. The art style is just so different. The sound is so different. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of scary. I don't know. I don't like the vibe of A Link to the Past. Yeah, it's just weird. It reminds me of all of those bootleg Gauntlet clone games that I would see in my Catholic school retreats that replaced all the Gauntlet characters for like Jesus and angels and shit like that. I don't know why, but I associate it with that, and I think it's just awkward and weird and ominous and scary. I don't know. It's just a really weird thing for me to describe. But Link to the Past, I don't get good vibes out of that one. I just can't feel it. I'm not feeling it when I play that. But I do acknowledge that it's a really good game. It's a really good game. It is not a bad game. It's just not. It's not my style. I grew up with Majora's Mask. I grew up with Wind Waker. I grew up with that Wind Waker-ass art style, Minish Cap, you know, all of those. I grew up with the more friendly, stylized kind of version of Link. You know, Toon Link to me is the best Link, in my opinion. And so I kind of like games sort of, you know, center around that Link or that art style at the very least. But yeah, those are some really good Game Boy Advance games. Link to the Past with the Four Swords expansion or whatever, if you link up with other people, with you and three other people making 4. And then Minish Cap was fantastic. And then you had Zelda 1 and Zelda 2. Which other ones? I'm pretty sure I'm missing it. Oh, I remember, I don't know why I did this, but I played through the Spy Kids 3D Game Over game quite often. I don't know why. That game wasn't anything special. I was trying to make a turn, and a dude just didn't give a shit. Just passed me instead of giving me the time. Alright, fine. That's okay. That's what we have our windows, our little mirror view windows and stuff, so that we can see when somebody's being a dick. And more people getting in the way. Yeah. Apologies. Okay, I am getting really close to seeing my exit here towards the office. So, yeah, I think I should probably just wrap up my thoughts. The Game Boy Advance is awesome, and so I want to buy a Game Boy Advance SP or a Game Boy Micro. If any of you have a Game Boy Micro or a Game Boy Advance SP that works very well, or a PSP Go that works very well, or a Switch Lite that you can just give away, then give them to me. If not, then I can just buy one on my own, because there's a lot of cool games that I want to catch up with. Yes, they're old consoles, but there's a big backlog that I need to stay up to date with. You know, a lot of money that I put into buying these games, and they're just sitting there. So yeah, I want to play through Persona 2 Innocent Sin. I want to play through Persona 2 Eternal Punishment and all those. Yeah. But wrapping up my thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Remake that I haven't even started to talk about, before I reach the office, I just want to very, very quickly summarize my thoughts on it. It's really good. It feels really nice. I like that there's like a classic mode where the game just kind of plays itself automatically with you not really doing anything. You just do the commands. But yeah, the easy mode and the normal mode are fun because you control the character around. You can fight by pressing square, and then with the X button, you just essentially pause the game to do abilities and magic and all that stuff and do your items. You can avoid it with circle. You can open up stuff with triangle. It's really weird. Like every single button does something, but it's all like a very specific command that you could just easily relegate to just the X button, you know? It's like, why do you need the triangle button specifically to interact with things? Why can't it just be X, you know? And then X is specifically for abilities for them to activate. It's in English. The demo wasn't available in Japanese, so I had to hear the English dub voices, which were okay. They weren't bad. I actually kind of liked all the voices. Jessie was a little bit annoying. She just talks in a very unnatural way. But Barrett sounds fine. Cloud sounds fine. We've already heard a little tiny bit of Sephiroth, and he sounds fine too. Tifa sounds okay. They all just sound fine. And you know, it's really easy to kind of fall in love with those voices because we've heard them from all of the spin-offs and the movies and all that. So yeah, it's not like we were expecting anything different. They all sound pretty much the same as they always have, which is good. I think if I had the choice, I would probably still go for the Japanese voices just to see how that feels like, because I spent a lot of time just with the English dub voices, and I kind of just want to have it feel like a really different game, like a brand new game, by having it have a different voice dub. So hopefully in the full release they let you switch around from one voice to the other. I really, really like that. If I'm just forced to do English, then that would be a little bit annoying, but I'm not fully against it because those voices are fine. Yeah, so the demo is actually kind of short. I played through it laying down in bed before going to sleep. I lasted for maybe like an hour, you know, like it really wasn't that long. You do a couple of fights. You have a lot of the basic dialogue from the game, from the original. And you do the first boss fight for the bomb. You run away for the bomb. It's like they let you choose. They're like, okay, what's your timer? 20 minutes or 30 minutes? And then you do 20 minutes. And Barrett is like, oh, you cocky motherfucker, huh? And so you run away toward, leaving this place, leaving the Mako reactor. And I think I had maybe 13 minutes, 13 or 12 minutes left before the thing exploded, and I left. And then the cutscene just says 3, 2, 1, you know? They make it all, you know, how do you call it? So suspenseful and exciting, even though I have 12 minutes left. And yeah, there we go. The thing explodes. Literally, the moment the thing explodes, that's it. The demo ends, and they play this little MP4 video trailer with 75% less volume than the game that you're playing. And that's it. The demo's over. And yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's a lot of the same environment. If you guys have played through the opening of Final Fantasy VII, which I think is most of you, then yeah, you'll definitely recognize a lot of the stuff that's there. A lot of interacting, a lot of tutorial, pretty much the entire game. You're just riddled with little windows that say, hey, press this to do that, press this button to do that. And so, yeah. And even if you don't read any of that at all, I mean, the game is pretty self-explanatory. I think the only thing that you should really read up on is just, press X to pause the game and choose abilities. Or, differences in modes and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't know. But it was really fun. There really isn't a whole lot that I can say. I played through the whole thing in an hour, so, I think I'm going to stream it at some point. Maybe during the stream I'll maybe play something else, but maybe play the Final Fantasy the Final Fantasy VII demo in between all that. So, yeah, it'll be fun, and I can really talk in detail about things as I see them. But it was good. It was really, really good. It really makes me feel confident about Final Fantasy VII and how the full release is going to be like, in between Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing and all these other Cyberpunk, all these other fantastic games. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII is going to be a big one. And I know that it's technically like episode 1, and, it's all just a Midgar and stuff, which is great. I like Midgar, and I remember in the original, it was just like the first 4 hours of the game or something, and then from there, goodbye Midgar. You pretty much never see it again, and you just, travel around the world doing stuff. So if it's like a whole 60-hour game that is fully focused on just Midgard, then that would be awesome. And I know that they're going to find some fucking excuse to have Sephiroth be the final boss. I'm sure it's going to be. But it's not going to be actual Sephiroth. It's going to be like an illusion of Sephiroth, a shadow of Sephiroth, or like a flashback, or it's going to be some bullshit where like some hologram or illusion or essence or shadow or remnant of Sephiroth or some bullshit is going to crop up, and you're going to have to fight him, and it's going to have the one-winged angel theme and all that shit. I know that's what's going to happen. And, yeah. But anyway, at least people will be happy knowing that there's a full, complete Final Fantasy VII game release that has Aeris alive. and obviously there's going to be like a billion teasers for like, the next episode, the next installment and whatnot. So yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen. But anyway, I'm parked here. I'm ready to go to the office and work. I hear that there's some pretty good news coming from John and all of his business deals and stuff. So yeah, I'm going to stop the recording here, and this will be another episode. I stayed on topic, relatively so, right? What did I talk about today? Just portable games and Final Fantasy VII and a whole bunch of other things in between. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Fine episode. Very casual. All right, well, good morning, everybody. Be sure to follow me on everywhere. And be sure that you're, make sure that you're following the Patreon, because if you're a $5 backer or more, you can actually listen to a lot of these episodes in advance. So this is, I think, episode 7? Yeah. And so by the time I'm recording this, barely episode, 2 came out. And so I'm thinking of editing all of these down and having it be like 7 or 8 episodes on the Patreon for you that you can just listen to if you want. And everybody else on YouTube has to wait once a week for each episode. Just keep making episodes and just keep putting them out in advance, if you guys want. So that's a cool perk for you guys. That's a lot of podcasts for you. Anyway, see you guys. Bye.